Hello, I'm Jack and this is Entertainment World, and today I'll be talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was directed by Zack Snyder. This time actually was directed by Zack Snyder, obviously with the title. It was written by Chris Terrio, and the story was done by Zack Snyder and Chris Terrio. Now, obviously, this review was meant to come out ages ago, and I am so sorry that I'm only just doing it now. Like, the whole non-spoiler thing's a bit redundant, but I'll still be doing this as a non-spoiler for a bit, and then I'll do some spoiler stuff at the end. I know this whole thing was meant to lead up to doing this, and, you know, we're starting with Zack Snyder films and then DCEU films. I've still got a couple of those to, well, I've got one to finish editing and one to proof watch, and overall 4 to upload. I'm sorry it's taken me this long. I know Zack Snyder's Justice League came out ages ago, and I've, not done this, but I'll just say why briefly. A lot of stuff that's been going on in my personal life has been stressing me out a lot, and I've been struggling a lot. And I won't go into the whys and the whats, but basically I just didn't feel like watching myself, because obviously when I've got to edit the videos and proof watch them, I've got to look at my face, I've got to listen to myself talk, and when I'm not in a very good mood, I struggle with that. Like, I'll look at a flaw and I'll think it will stand out, or if I say a word weirdly, it will bother me more than it would normally. So I just didn't want to watch an edit video whilst I was in a bad place, because watch or edit a video whilst I was in a bad place, because I didn't think it would be good for my mental health at the time. But now I feel I'm more confident, I'm more frustrated that I wasn't able to do this. So I've finally done it. I'm going to finally do it now. So anyway, I just wanted to get all of that out of the way, explain why it's taken me too long, why I've been holding it off for ages, and I am sorry about that, but I do hope you still enjoy this review, regardless. So anyway, I'll be starting my review for Zack Snyder's Justice League now. So, I'm going to start off with, obviously, as you know, or you probably know, the whole background with this film. Zack Snyder was making it, a lot of studio interference, he was making multiple versions, he was making the version he wanted to make, which is this film, and the version that the studio wanted, and eventually he left the project when it was like 95% done, because he had to deal with the tragic loss of his daughter. His daughter committed suicide, which is obviously horrible. And then Warner Brothers brought Joss Whedon in, who used like 35 minutes, 40 minutes of this film and reshot over an hour of his own film, and even the stuff he did use as Snyder, he used ADR, colour corrected it, aspect ratio different, effects removed, effects added, taken out of context, altered, swapped around. So basically, the theatrical cut was a Joss Whedon film, and he also wrote the reshoot. So it was, his project. And after many, many years of campaigning, which I was part of, and I'm part of being of, the Snyder fandom finally got what they wanted, and the Snyder Cut was released, and it was titled Zack Snyder's Justice League, and obviously it was released on HBO Max and various other platforms depending on what country you were in, and is now up for digital purchase, and the hard copy will be released soon because I'm late. But anyway, so all of that. Now, what this film needs to answer, was the film itself, obviously the whole charity aspect is good and the goodwill and all that's great, but was the film itself worth the 3-year-long fight? Was it worth being told it doesn't exist, it will never happen, the hating, the bullying that we received because we wanted a film, and all the fighting that went on, the internet war that basically happened over this film? Was the film itself worth all of that? Now, after having watched the film multiple times now, 15 to be exact, yeah, I don't care, you can judge, but whatever, I can finally say that after all of that, yes, it fucking was. This film, right, no word of a lie, is fucking amazing. And I mean on every level. So much so that I think Warner Brothers have got to be the dumbest studio in the history of ever to have this film for 3 years and think, no, we're not going to release this. It is just, it's amazing. It is an amazing film. Literally, I would go, right, my opinion, best superhero film ever made. My opinion, my favourite film ever made. I adore this film. It's my new favourite film. I love it. Everything about it is amazing. And honestly, what the fuck were Warner Brothers thinking? What the fuck was Joss Whedon thinking? What the fuck was Jeff Johns thinking? What the fuck was John Berg thinking? What the fuck was Kevin Tizjara, whatever his name is, thinking? What the fuck was Walter Hamada thinking? What the fuck was Toby Emmerich thinking? What the fuck were any of those people who thought, no, we should not release this thinking? And Sarnoff, what the fuck is she still thinking? Thinking, oh, we're not going to continue this because we got other stuff to do. We got Blue Beetle and Aquaman coming out. That's what everybody wants, yeah? Aquaman. I mean, I'm alright for Blue Beetle, but, like, for fuck's sake, not instead of this. Anyway, so, this film, fucking amazing. But will start off with the negatives, because I like to start off with the negatives to get them out of the way, because then I can just talk about the positives. Okay, so, my first negative is, well, my first and only negative is the runtime. Now, do I think it's too long? No. Could the film been 6 hours and I would still watched it? Yes. The only problem, I'm not complaining about the runtime. I'm not going, it's too slow here, it's too slow there, that scene wasn't needed, slow motion's this, or pacing's that, blah blah blah, tacked on at the end. None of that. Not my problem. The only problem is, with its 4-hour runtime, it limits when you could watch it. Does that make sense? At least in whole. You could watch like an hour of it, or an hour and a half of it, whatever, and then watch it in like 2 or 3 sittings. But the 4-hour runtime does limit when you could watch it. Like, if you've had a bad day at work, and it's a Wednesday, and you're tired, and you get home at 9 o'clock, and you're like, oh, I've had a shit day, I want to watch a film that I love, and you absolutely love Zack Snyder's Justice League, you can't really watch it, because even if you don't pause it, it'll be gone at 1 o'clock in the morning by the time you finish, and if you need to get up at 6, like, you know what I mean. Also, because of its long run time, it limits to who you could watch it with. Like, if you got young children, you can't watch it with them, but at the same time it's a 15, it's 4 hours long. It's Zack Snyder's Justice League, why you're watching it with young children. You know, if you've got young children, put them to bed and then watch it yourself. You know, it's not aimed at them. But yeah, I love this film. Honestly, I do, but it's just, the only thing is the 4-hour runtime. It just limits when you can watch it, and if you've got children, probably not going to watch it anyway, but the films are 15, so, and it's also not really appropriate for children, so, young children, obviously like a 10-year, I think 10 and above could watch it easy, unless your children's got, like, maybe they're scared of things, or they've got, you know, they get scared easily, because I know children, I know, like, friends who have children, things like that, who, even at like 12 and 13, they can't watch 15s or 18s, and they struggle with some 12s, and I'm not judging that. Some people can't handle certain things for whatever reason, that's fine. You know, but if your child is, you know, fine with stuff, once they get to about 10, they can watch this film, no problem. But, yeah, that's all. I could really nitpick and say, oh, there's this one green screen shot here, or there's this one effect here, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not fucking gonna, because I wouldn't do that with I wouldn't really do that with any other film, so why the fuck would I do that with this film? I'm not a hater, so. That's the thing, haters really reached with this, and the critics. Oh god, this film's amazing. But I've got to hate Zack Snyder, somehow. 4 hours is too long. Superman punched the guy in that scene. Superman never punches anybody. No. Oh, Batman hurts. Oh, Batman doesn't hurt people. Oh, Wonder Woman never hurts anybody. Yeah, that's just like, shut up. But other than that, the 4-hour runtime. Other than that, I mean, like the limitation that comes with a 4-hour runtime. Other than that, this film to me has no standout flaws. Even then, that's not flaws. That's just like you can't watch it every day, so that's not really a flaw. So anyway, now, going on to the positives, and I haven't written my notes down with this. Usually with every other film, I would write notes down. I haven't done it with this one, though, because I think I've just got to ramble about it, really. Just got to, you know, think about it. I know you would usually write notes down, but I just want to talk about this film. So, first things. Also, with the terms of the review, because this is obviously the theatrical cut was a thing long before this film was in terms of release to the public. It's a bit hard to not compare it, because you know how I said the theatrical cut in my review of that film could only ever get worse? Yeah, it's gotten much worse. That might actually be the worst film ever made after watching this. In fact, it is my least favourite film. And in terms of like what it started out as in this film, and then versus what it became as in the theatrical cut, it is the worst film ever made. Why the fuck did they make it like that? every decision they made the film worse. Every single decision. So, basically, yeah, what the fuck. So, my first positive for this film is the characters. The characters are much fucking better in this version. Every single character who is in both films, both versions of the film, you know, theatrical cut and then Zack Snyder's version, every character that is in both is better in Zack Snyder's version. Batman's better. His story continues on from BVS. He's not as broken or jaded anymore. He's more hopeful. He's got a purpose again. He's more optimistic. And he's also feeling tremendous guilt over his actions in BVS about getting, you know, Superman killed. And he feels the guilt of that, and he's using that as his motivation to form the Justice League. And you actually feel that in this film. You feel his guilt is slowly eating away at him, and he feels like he needs to form this league as an apology to Superman for getting him killed and to protect the Earth from what threat there could be. Well, that's the other thing in this film. He does. Actually, I won't spoil it. Sorry. But in this version, so I'll talk about that more in another thing I'll do, and I'll tell you what that is at the end of this video. So in this film, Batman, you feel it. You feel he wants to form the. I know you said it. You feel like he wants the Snyder Cut. I mean, everybody wanted the Snyder Cut. Sorry. You feel like he wants to form the League to protect the world from whatever threats there may be, and his story continues very well. And even though he's more light-hearted, less jaded, and more optimistic, it's still the same Batman from BVS. It's not the weird, jokey, doesn't like himself, has no confidence, whatever the fuck that Batman was in Justice League, or Justice League, or whatever you want to call it. This Batman is the Batman v Superman Batman, just more optimistic and more light-hearted, a bit more light-hearted, and you can tell that he is sorry for his actions in the previous film, and he wants to make amends for them by helping to form the League and helping to save the world from all the threats. So he's a much better character, and his journey throughout the film and the conclusions he comes to is also much better. And he isn't, like I said, the jokey, non-confident, we're not enough Batman in Justice League. In this version, he is Batman, and he's a good Batman. So, Batman, there we go. Superman, I mean, spoiler alert, he comes back to life. He was alive in the theatrical cut, he was alive in the trailers for this film. If you're going to say that's a spoiler, shut the fuck up. Sorry, but that would annoy the fuck out of me. You'd just be really bitter if you went, this is spoiler. No, it's not a spoiler. So, Superman, in this film, is leagues, yeah, I said it, is leagues ahead of the theatrical cut Superman. For starters, you've got the black suit, and that's really cool. The black suit is really, really cool in this film. It looks amazing, it feels like it has a purpose, it adds to the scene, it doesn't just feel like fan service, it feels like it's earned it, and I love the black suit. It looks brilliant, it does look cool, and I just love every scene the black suit's in. I love the black suit. And obviously, Henry Cavill has got his normal face in this film, which is a huge one-up on the theatrical cut. He could have had the exact same dialogue and the blue and red suit as the theatrical cut, which he doesn't. He doesn't have the same dialogue either. But with a normal face, that would have just already been 10 times better. But now it's, because he's got a normal face as well, his suit's different, and his dialogue and actions are different. Superman in this film is 10,000 times better than the theatrical cut Superman. And when he comes back to life, and he goes on his evil rampage, it feels like an evil rampage. It doesn't feel like a jokey, unnecessary thing they put in the film. It feels like, oh shit, it's mindless, scary, T-800, the Terminator, Superman. Like, it looks scary, it feels intimidating, and that whole sequence was much better. His fight with, you know, the action scene at the end, his entrance, his confrontation, his battle, everything he does in the film, much better. Him reuniting with Lois and his mum, much better. Everything about Superman in this film is much better than in the theatrical version. He doesn't say coming back to life is itchy. He doesn't say, I'm also a big believer in justice, whatever the fuck that was. He doesn't say any of that stupid shit, like, oh, I knew you didn't do it because you like me. None of that's in there. It's just a much better Superman, and it feels like the Superman from Man of Steel and BVS, but the continuation. It's obviously not exactly the same, but it feels like the continuation of that character, opposed to the whatever the fuck, like, Christopher Reeve's wannabe fan fiction version that was in Justice League. This version, yeah, no, this is a cool Superman in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Wonder Woman, again, much better. Isn't just in the film because, you know, she's female and let's get all the butt shots and the leg shots and the upskirting and the stupid innuendos and the flash falling on her breasts in a really awkward fucking attempt at being funny. None of that is in here. None of that. Like, I mean, she's still obviously Wonder Woman. Obviously, men would still find her attractive, but, like, she's a character in this film, and she's cool. It is, like, she's like, imagine what Wonder Woman was like at the end of BVS in the last half an hour, you know, the cool music and the dramatic fight, and just comes across as a massive badass. Yeah, basically, that's her, but opposed to just having, like, 30 minutes of screen time in that version, she has over an hour of screen time, and it's obviously like, oh, it's 4 hour, but like an hour to herself. She has a lot of screen time to herself in the film. She leads the charge in a lot of action scenes, and obviously when it's the whole team together, she is very present in that. And she is just really cool in this film. She is really cool. She doesn't say the stupid shit she said in the theatrical cut. She isn't like the, I'm angry because my boyfriend died in 1918 and I can't get over that, and Batman said something mean, so I'm going to punch him in the ribs and he's going to be all angry and it's all going to be mopey sadness and I'm going to just disagree with Batman on basically everything for no reason. None of that is in this film. None of that. She's cool. You feel her rivalry with Steppenwolf, which is sort of hinted in the theatrical cut, but it's much more present in this film. You feel that she's Amazon warrior. You feel the like warrior spirit inside of her. Gal Gadot plays her really well in this film, and I would actually go so far to say she gives like a massively, significantly better performance in this film than she does in Justice League. Like, the direction under Zack Snyder is obviously much better than Joss Whedon's direction was, and you can tell she's much more comfortable and much more confident and much prefers being Wonder Woman in this version of the film than she obviously did performing as Wonder Woman in Justice League. And obviously, because Zack Snyder understands Wonder Woman is much better than Joss Whedon does and isn't sexist and doesn't bully Gal Gadot and threaten her career and make her do things she doesn't want to do and say, hey, let Ezra Miller, you know, motorbike your breasts in the middle of an action scene for no reason. Like, none of that in here. Zack Snyder's just like, hey, be the coolest Wonder Woman you can be, and we'll give you loads of screen time, and you get to do lots of cool action shit. And you also get to do probably the most heartwarming, like, superhero moment I've probably ever seen. Definitely the most pro-feminist superhero moment I've ever seen. And that, of course, is after the bank fight, which, you know, the bank fight was in the theatrical cut, albeit severely edited, altered, and cut down like everything else with unnecessary reshoots and that sort of thing. And, you know, after the fight, the moment, of course, which I'm talking about, is when the little girl, who Wonder Woman has just saved, asks Wonder Woman, can I be like you someday? And Wonder Woman says, you can be anything you want to be. Which, to me, is like such a lovely scene. It makes me emotional. You know, I absolutely adore it. And I think it, you know, I'm not a woman, so I can't really talk about, you know, feminist messages too much, in the sense that, you know, I'm not part of the demographic is trying to promote, and I understand that. It's not about me, it's got nothing to do with me in terms of, like, what the message is trying to say, and I understand that. And I wouldn't want to try and make it about me. I would never try and do that, and I completely understand that, and, you know, I'm trying to be respectful to all of that, whilst also saying that I find this to be a much better way of conveying the message than basically every recent superhero film that has tried to promote a feminist message, especially like comparing it to Wonder Woman 1984, because that's the same character, and had a somewhat similar scene in the mall with a little girl there, but I found that to be very silly, tongue-in-cheek, sort of slowed everything down and came across more annoying. It sort of just was it was so over the top, so unnatural. It disrupted the flow of the sequence. It was like, it was very wink at the camera, including an actual wink, and it just sort of came across as a bit, okay, like, this is a horrible situation, why is this little girl giggling and laughing and all of these sort of things, and to me it just didn't work so well, whereas here it's just a nice quiet moment after this horrible thing that's happened where Wonder Woman's making sure everybody's okay, and the little girl, asks her, after Wonder Woman approaches her to ask if she's okay, can I be like you someday? And Wonder Woman says you can be anything you want to be. To me, that is just a much more natural, nice, more heartfelt way of trying to convey that sort of message, and it works a lot better. It's more touching, it means a lot more. It doesn't interrupt the scene. It doesn't come across as ridiculous. It doesn't come across as, like I say, wink at the camera and it's just, okay, whatever. It comes across as natural. It's a very good way to promote the message, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm not a woman, as I said, and as you can tell, so I'm not I'm not part of that demographic. So if you're a woman watching this and you disagree with me and you thought the other films, Captain Marvel, that sort of thing, does a better job at promoting a feminist message, then that's completely fine. Obviously, that's your opinion, and obviously you're entitled to your opinion. And as the message is trying to promote women, your voice is obviously more important than mine in that sense, but at the same time, just from a completely impartial perspective, and from somebody who likes film, respects film, film's his favourite thing, and we live in a day and age now where a lot of messages are promoted through film. I just think this way of doing it is a much nicer way of doing it than basically most other films I've seen that have tried to promote the same message, as it actually works, suits the story, and is actually quite a nice, touching moment that can make anybody emotional. And I I like that sort of thing. And again, this scene just goes to show that the likes of Jodie's Corner, and I don't like making jabs at other YouTubers, but he just gets on my nerves because he's just a bully. But that sort of person, all these people who go on Twitter, bloggers, go, Zack Snyder's a sexist, Zack Snyder's is a that, he's a this, he doesn't understand women, he's blah, 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 blah. All that sort of thing that he gets a lot of flack for. This scene here, again, goes to show that is completely incorrect. He's very much for promoting women. He does a brilliant job at it. He does a better job at it than I would say a lot of female filmmakers do, in terms of like other comic book films or other actresses try to promote, because sometimes it can just come across as very angry and quite bitter, and it's sort of this sort of I don't know how to try and say this, but sort of like you're not equal, you're better, and this sort of thing that can happen. But this scene here to me is just the best way to try and promote this sort of thing. It works very well, and Wonder Woman is my favourite female superhero. Gal Gadot is amazing as the character. And I just wanted to talk about this scene quite a bit. I know I've rambled on. I don't really consider this a spoiler because Zack Snyder discussed this when he did a trailer breakdown. But it, to me, just is and always will be the best sort of scene that in a film that I've watched, a superhero film that I've watched, where it tries to promote this message, and it does it really well. And again, just goes to show that Joss Whedon was not brought in to make Wonder Woman a better character. Joss Whedon is not a feminist, because he cut this scene out. Joss Whedon watched this and cut this out. And, before you go, well, he had to cut it down to 2 hours. He actually, not only did he cut this out, he then took the time to replace a scene like this with the Flash landing on Wonder Woman's cleavage.
And to me, that just goes to show that that whole situation there, whatever anybody says, whatever any blogger, Twitter, YouTuber, anybody says who says Zack Snyder is a sexist, Joss Whedon's a feminist, this and that, take out all the abuse allegations and stuff that Joss Whedon's had, and just look at it from this aspect alone. That to me alone says, obviously don't forget the abuse allegations, I just mentioned this. This alone confirms to me that that is not what happened. He was just brought in because he was a Marvel name, and his ego, his sense of humour and his ridiculousness got the better of him, and he created a bad film. But yeah, sorry, look, again, as I said, I'm not a woman, and I'm sorry if what I've said doesn't sound right, if I've offended you, but to me, this just is the best way to promote this message. And sorry, this has gone on really long, but I just wanted to say this. Anyway, so yeah, that's how I feel about this scene here.
It's it was amazing. It truly was best feminism I've seen in a film. In my opinion, you don't have to agree. If you're a woman watching this and going, Wonder Woman 1984 did it better, then fair enough, that's your opinion. But in my opinion, standing here, talking to the camera on this channel, that is the best feminism I've ever seen, and probably one of the best political messages I've ever seen. It doesn't beat you over the head, doesn't make you feel shit. And anybody who said Joss Whedon was brought in to make Wonder Woman a cooler character, Jodie's Corner, you were fucking wrong, and you look stupid now. And I know I don't like calling out other channels, and that's not fair, but fuck me, some of the things he said, especially towards Zack Snyder, especially when it comes to Wonder Woman, is fucking disgraceful. And I won't go onto that rant right now. That could be its own video. However, Wonder Woman in this film is amazing. Thank you, Zack Snyder, for allowing that. Thank you for Zack Snyder to promote that. And thank you for Gal Gadot for portraying that. So, thank you to those two. And thank you to Chris Terrio for writing it as well. So, now I've got one Batman out of the way, Wonder Woman out of the way. The Flash. Fuck me, does this character have a much, much better everything in this film. The Flash in this film makes the Flash in the theatrical cut of Justice League look even more like a dipshit than that Flash in that film already did, which is very difficult to do. The Flash in this film is amazing. He's my favourite speedster. Ezra Miller's amazing. I want more Ezra Miller as the Flash. The Flash in this film is amazing. I loved it, and I feel like a lot of people who thought Ezra Miller was a shit Flash in Justice League would agree. And I'll actually say this: I have a friend, favourite superhero is the Flash, loves the Flash. Shout out to Ethan if you are watching this. And he was like, I don't want more Zack Snyder Flash. I don't want Ezra Miller Flash. Shit Flash, shit Flash, shit Flash. And I said, but Justice League Flash isn't what they wanted. He was like, yes, it was. I don't care. I was like, no, it wasn't. It was not. That was what Joss Whedon did. Wait till, Zack Snyder's version comes out. And when it was released, he was like, I don't know if it'll be better. I don't know if it'll be better. I don't know if it'll be better. I'm not looking forward to it. Not looking forward to it. I don't like Ezra Miller Flash. He's a shit Flash. Blah, 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 blah. Watched it. Basically called me immediately after the film finished. In fact, he actually paused it towards the end of the film to call me, and then called me again when it ended. He said, I love the Flash in this film. The Flash is amazing. Ezra Miller's a great Flash. I want more of him. So, if that doesn't show you that one of the biggest haters of Ezra Miller Flash is now one of the biggest fans of Ezra Miller Flash, if that doesn't show you how different the two versions are, I don't know what will. The Flash in this film is amazing. Ezra Miller is brilliant. He's funny. He's actually funnier in this film than he is in the other film. That's the truth. He's funnier in this version because it doesn't have the weird what is brunch. It doesn't have the horrible reshoots where Ezra Miller looks like he needs to go to hospital for some form of disease and he's got a weird haircut. It's got none of that. He looks normal way, normal haircut, is funny when he needs to be, is actually a confident enough superhero. Obviously he's still the least confident because he's the most new, he's the youngest and he's the most unsure. He's still much more confident than he was in the theatrical cut. And there are moments where he's in over his head, but he tries. He doesn't need to be urged on. He doesn't need to be told to do this. He doesn't need Batman to say, go in and save people. And he's like, I've pushed some people and run away. None of that. None of that's in there. There's bits where he's nervous, and there's bits where he's unsure, and there's bits where he doesn't know if what he's doing is exactly the 110% best thing he can do at that moment. However, he has much better everything. Funnier, more confident, better action scenes. The actual Flash slow-mo scenes as well is amazing. And in the end battle, he has an actual purpose for being there. Not just save random family and say, "Doiski eski," and runs away. None of that. Actual purpose. Oh, and by the way, his purpose in the end, his big scene at the end battle, is massively emotional. One of the best moments I've ever seen in the film. I watched the film earlier before doing this review. Made me cry. 15th time watching it, still makes me cry. I love his big scene at the end of the end battle, which I won't spoil, just in case you're one of the few people on the planet who's not watched this film yet, or is on the fence about it, or whatever. So, and I'll save that for another thing. So, the Flash in this film, much better in every regard, and considering apparently Joss Whedon was brought in to give the Flash more screen time and make him funnier, he gave him less screen time, made him really cringy, and took out everything cool the Flash did, including the coolest thing the Flash does, and just gave him really derpy shit to do. So, Flash, this film, brilliant, much better, love it. Okay, so Flash out the way. Aquaman. So, in this film, Aquaman is a character with an arc, isn't just big jockey douchebag who just is a dick to Cyborg because you've got to be a dick to Cyborg because fuck Cyborg. He isn't in that film. There is the moment where he's like, I don't know if you're on our side or not. It does have that. But he eventually drops that. He doesn't keep that up throughout the whole film for no reason. He eventually is very nice to Cyborg, and they actually become friends, and it's really nice. Sorry for the minor spoiler, but it's just minorly spoilery thing. However, him just being a unlikable prick in the theatrical cut of Justice League is gone, and I just had to say that because of how much of an unlikable prick he was in Justice League. In Aquaman, he's cool, has a cool personality, has some actually really hilarious dialogue as well, is just more of a badass, has much better action than he did in the theatrical cut, and he also looks cooler. Like in the Joss Whedon reshoots, he just looked awkward, like Jason Momoa looked uncomfortable, and he looked like the suit didn't look very good for whatever reason. His hair, it just looked very sort of tacky, and Jason Momoa was very I don't want to be here. Aquaman in this film is like Aquaman in Aquaman. He's cool. And that's the thing. This Aquaman, there's obviously a lot of difference between Aquaman in the theatrical cut and Aquaman. They feel like two different characters, but with the same actor. Aquaman in this film is what Aquaman is like in Aquaman. How many times I can say Aquaman in one sentence, I have no fucking clue. I just did it there. But yeah, he is much better in this film, much more confident, music's better, his action scenes are better, he has a lot more backstory, he has a lot more development as a person, and a lot more empathy, and he's kinder, and he learns things, and he's more understanding of other people, and you feel like him finally deciding, yes, I will help the League, is much more earned than the one massive 180 that it was in the theatrical cut. In this version, he actually has a heart, has a soul, and has actual motivation for wanting to join the Justice League, and just everything about it feels more earned. And Jason Momoa seems to be having a much better... I mean, he was a huge supporter of release the Snyder Cut, and I see why, because he obviously is a huge Zack Snyder fan. He's much more confident in the role than he was when Joss Whedon was directing it. And he openly basically said, fuck Joss Whedon. He didn't say fuck Joss Whedon, but he said, I agree with Ray Fisher, how he was treated was bad. So, yes, Jason Momoa, you can tell, much happier in this version, just a much better performance, and the character as well is more likeable, has a bigger arc, and is funnier and cooler as well, which is the ironic thing of the whole Joss Whedon thing again. He is just a much better character in this film. Okay, now I saved the biggest one till last, because fuck me again, does this character have nothing in common with the version that was in the theatrical cut. So, obviously we're now on Cyborg, played by Ray Fisher. wow. This is like day and night difference to which version of Cyborg is better. And it ain't the theatrical cut ain't the one that's better. Wow. This film nails Cyborg. It's amazing. His introduction, his backstory, his little, 15-minute introduction where it explains why he is the way he is, why he's upset, and showing what his life was like before he became Cyborg, and showed his relationship with his dad versus his relationship with his mum, and why he hates his dad so much, and all of that is amazing. It's very emotional. I get teary-eyed with it. It's just so much better, and Ray Fisher gives an award-worthy performance in this film. He is one of my favourite comic book characters. Ray Fisher is now one of my favourite actors because not only is he an amazing actor, obviously he's called bullshit on a lot of the bullshit that happened. And anybody who said he was lying, well, now loads of other women have come out against Joss Whedon, and other black people have come out against Jeff Johns. So, what's your argument now? What is it? What is it? Come on. Let me know. You can keep whinging and sulking because you've got nothing better to do and you just want to hate on an actor because he's a prima donna, he got paid money, blah blah blah. Just because you're pissed off that somebody got paid more money than you do doesn't mean that he can't be treated like shit. Get over yourself. Now, not only is he an amazing actor, sorry again, but I've got so much frustration with so many people over this whole thing, and so many groups of people and their attitudes towards the whole thing, that it's quite hard to not sometimes let that slip out. But Ray Fisher, amazing actor, amazing person, massive Ray Fisher fan, I stand with Ray Fisher, all of that, great guy, great actor, and the character of Cyborg, he was like the perfect casting for it. I now don't want him replaced. Don't replace him, please, please don't replace him, because he is the best. I know there's the whole issue there with what he said and all of these things, but if you're going to fire a guy because he called out the bullshit that happened, then fuck you. I know he said he wasn't going to work with Walter Hamada again. However, Walter Hamada seems to be the kind of person who's a bit of a dick. So, there you go. I love Cyborg in this film. Like I said, backstory is amazing. He has an actual arc. He has the most emotional moments in the film. And that's the thing. He had the least amount of screen time in the theatrical cut. He has the most amount of emotional moments in this cut. He is the heart and soul of the film. Zack Snyder was absolutely right when he said he's the heart of the film, because Cyborg is the heart of this film. He has the biggest emotional arc, the biggest difference in where he started off versus how he is at the end of the film. There's so many quotable lines that he gives. He has an actual purpose of being in the end battle, probably the biggest purpose anybody has of being there, which is amazing. They make him the big focus, and they also make him basically more powerful than Superman in a way. I mean, Superman will still absolutely twat him in like a fist-to-fist cage fight with no other abilities accessible, but with what Cyborg can do with computers and the way he can access literally anything and everything, and the whole scene where the dad is basically telling him what he can what he can do, not what he can't do, because there isn't really much he can't do. It's basically just everything what he can do. That whole sequence there is amazing. I love it. Cyborg in this film is a huge improvement. And it's not even really an improvement because this is how he was to begin with. Joss Whedon and fucked it up. So, I don't know what you call it. But this version, much, much better. Probably the biggest night and day difference between the two. I mean, Superman's up there as well, but that's because he hasn't got the weird lips with the CGI face. But, yeah, the difference between the two is very noticeable. This version, much better. Thank you, Ray Fisher. Thank you, Chris Terrio. Thank you, Zack Snyder. Thank you, everybody involved in this version, for making Cyborg one of the coolest characters in the history of ever. Thank you so much. Okay, so, now I've got the League out of the way in terms of how much better they are. Now let's get on to the villains. Steppenwolf. So, if Cyborg isn't the biggest night and day difference, Steppenwolf definitely is, because fucking hell is this version much better. Not only does he look a bazillion times better from a design standpoint, not only is the CGI and special effects, VFX, all of that, look much better as well. And actually some of the best VFX, special effects look I've ever seen for any CGI character in any film ever made. Fuck me, does he look realistic, amazing, and he just looks real. It's just so cool. Not only all that, his character is infinitely times better than the theatrical cut. Infinitely times better. You can't even comprehend how many times better he is. Wow, is he better? Kieran Hines, you were the first actors to support the Snyder Cut, and I see why, because if I was you, I would have been pissed off as well. This version is brilliant. He has an actual motivation. He isn't just evil guy who has evil thing to do for the sake of evil, with shit like fucking Garden Gnome with a pickaxe design, and he doesn't go around calling the mother boxes, Mother's calling me, you're being a distraction, Mother's this, and Mother, you're not worthy to touch Mother, because Mother's mother, and I got Mother, blah, blah, blah. Which he was in the theatrical cut. In fact, he never calls them Mother once. Thank you, Zack. Thank you. Doesn't call them Mother once. Doesn't. Is imposing. Actually has a motive for doing what he's doing. All of these things. All of these things that he should have had in the first place. And they're all here. And he's gone from being one of the shittest comic book villains of all time, which he was in the theatrical cut, to being one of the greatest comic book villains of all time, which he is in this version. Zack Snyder's Justice League, like every other character, does Steppenwolf amazingly. Thank you, Zack Snyder. Thank you, Chris Terrio. Thank you to all the VFX people. Thank you, Kieran Hines. Thank you so much for making Steppenwolf actually fucking cool. Thank you so much. Cyborg's also amazing. Steppenwolf, amazing, brilliant villain, love him. Also, he's fucking scary. Like his first entrance isn't like the, like, well, yeah, he didn't call him over. Isn't like, you called me home. Thank you, because I've been in exile for so long for no reason. Why am I in exile? I don't know. None of that. It's, I've come to enlighten you to the great darkness. I will brave in your fear. How is that not better? How can you how can you cut out that entrance quote? It's in a trailer, so this is not a spoiler. With Mother, you called me home because I was bad boy and got sent on the space naughty step because I don't know why, because I fucked up apparently, because I did the stuff wrong. I don't know why I was doing it in the first place, but yeah. No, none of that. None of that. None of that. Comes in and it just basically says, hi, yeah, I'm going to fuck you all up now. I'm better than everyone. Basically, his entrance in this version, much better. Actually scary. Actually feels earned. Looks cool. Design is great. Kieran Hines' voice is also different. Much deeper. Much scarier. The things he also says is scarier. He doesn't say mother. He doesn't go, you love me, like he does in the theatrical cut. I mean, there are a few things in the theatrical cut he says which are cool, which he doesn't say in this version. And again, that just shows that the whole Joss Whedon was brought in to make the film more light-hearted and funny as bullshit. Because if that's the case, why would he remove funny things? And why would he add in things which are meant to be scary? It just proved he wanted to take out everything Zack Snyder did that was iconic and try to push in what he wanted to be iconic. Problem is, with 99.9% of what he pushed in to be iconic was really embarrassing and really stupid and made him look like a huge derp. So, yeah. Also, I think Joss Whedon also tweeted out, Steppenwolf's one of the least interesting comic book villains of all time, and how do you make him cool, and basically trying to defend himself for fucking Steppenwolf up so badly. Well, here's the thing, Joss Whedon. Zack Snyder did it before you did it. Zack Snyder made Steppenwolf an amazing villain. You then came in, cut all of that out, reshot it all so he would go mother, and then blame, like, how do I make him interesting? He's not a very good character. Well, he was a good character and you fucked it up. And now you're whinging about it. Fuck me. Right, okay, Steppenwolf, much better in this version. Even like the lesser characters like Alfred, Silas Stone, Martha, Lois, all the, not like the secondary characters are much better in this film. Amy Adams as Lois Lane is amazing in this film. Actually feels like a grieving widow who's just lost the love of her life and isn't just like weird lady with really bright hair for some reason and isn't the thirstiest young woman ever because you've got to be sexist. I don't know. Actually feels like a grieving widow. Good. I mean, it's not good if she's a grieving widow, but it's good that she actually acts like one and not just like, I'm Lois Lane and I'm happy and I'm the thirstiest young woman ever apparently, and I'm sitting in my office just, or in the break room, whatever the fuck it is, with my dead boyfriend's mum and just sort of complaining about stuff. None of that. Like, she hasn't been to work and hasn't done anything and is just actually a sad person. Not saying she's just a sad person, but like, you feel like she's a character who's lost something. She's somebody who has had her heart broken, opposed to, like I said, whatever the fuck that was meant to be in Justice League. She is an amazing character in this film. Martha Kent, again, same thing, feels like a grieving mother, not just another derpy derp. Alfred, again, has much more screen time, is funnier, is cooler, is a much better character and actually feels like an Alfred, opposed to, again, whatever the fuck. The Captain complains a lot, which he was in Justice League. I know Alfred complains and that's the point, but you've got to make it funny, interesting and iconic and witty, whereas Justice League just made him basically be like nobody's favourite aunt who just complains about everything. Silas Stone, again, much bigger arc, plays a lot more in Cyborg story, and actually feels like a character and presence and you care about him, opposed to the absinator that he was in the theatrical cut. So, they're all better. Every character that was in both is better. Now, talking about every character that was in both is better, that's fine, done that. Now, the characters who are exclusive to Zack Snyder's Justice League, is they got cut the fuck out in Justice League. Let's start off with Desaad. The person Steppenwolf answers to on the mission he's on, and is the messenger between him and Darkseid. Now, Desaad is amazing. He also sounds like Jude Law. I know he's not Jude Law. I can't remember the actor's name, I'll put it here. Good job. That actor does a great job, but he sounds like Jude Law, which is great because obviously Jude Law has a good villain voice. But yeah, Desaad is an amazing secondary villain. He hasn't got a lot of screen time. He's got like 6-7 minutes, but those 6-7 minutes are really cool. He does got a good voice, got a good design, looks intimidating, and you can see why he has got a hold on Steppenwolf and why he feels confident enough to tell Steppenwolf, you're a bitch. Like, he is cool. He is a good secondary villain. He looks, like I said, looks cool, good voice, design's cool, and the special effects, again, like everything else, are really cool. Ryan Choi, who is the Atom, I can't remember the actor's name again, I'm so sorry. He's there. Great actor. He's, setting up the character of the Atom. He's amazing. He feels his screen time is good. Again, he's only got like 5-6 minutes screen time, but he is a cool character, and he probably has the funniest line in the whole film, if not the funniest line, top 5 funniest lines. I love there's a line what he says about. I won't say it, but it's amazing. I love that. Great character. Who else? Martian Manhunter has the least amount of screen time out of the new editions, but yeah, again, cool. Obviously, Harry Lennox, good actor. He was obviously General Swanwick in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. So he is great in this, and the design for Martian Manhunter, in my opinion, is also really cool. I know some people didn't like it as much, but personally, considering I know everything that he had to do to get that in the film, I think it's great. I think it could have turned out a lot worse. So yeah, I love that. And obviously the big one is Darkseid. Now cutting out Darkseid is like cutting out Darth Vader, is like cutting out Thanos, is like cutting out Voldemort, is like cutting out every big villain really. Just picture any big villain in any franchise and imagine cutting them out. That is like what it would be like cutting out Darkseid. So he's in the film now. Again, he has not got a huge amount of screen time, but the screen time that he's in, better than Thanos. Saying that now. Don't have to agree. Can type, I hate you, you wrong, you hater, blah 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 blah. Do that, fine. Your opinion. You can, it's fine, whatever. It's just my opinion. I prefer Darkseid to Thanos. He is intimidating. He is scary. He looks scary. He looks great as well. And Ray Porter, I know you said Ray Fisher. Ray Porter, who plays him, great voice. Brilliant. I can't picture a better voice. I loved Darkseid in this film. I truly did. He had a great presence and a great piece of music as well for his entrances. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And Ray Porter, like I said, did an amazing job for the voice of Darkseid. And I really hope that the Snyderverse is restored, because I want to see more of Darkseid? That's the nerdy version. I want to see more of Darkseid. I want to see him as the big bad in the next film, because he is a great villain. He is intimidating, scary, memorable. Absolutely love him. So now got the characters out of the way. All the characters in this film, really cool. Okay, now next thing. Special effects, amazing. Much better than the special effects in the theatrical cut of Justice League. Because obviously that film is known for having the weirdest looking green screen CGI in the history of ever. Especially for a film which was meant to cost $300 million and looked like it cost $80 million at a push. So yeah, the special effects, VFX, all of that in this film, amazing. The action sequences, obviously, like every Zack Snyder film, are super cool. There's quite a lot of slow motion, but I don't dislike that, because Zack Snyder does the best slow motion. It looks amazing, and I personally believe all the slow motion was an added like a dramatic feel to all. It wasn't like slow motion for no reason like Michael Bay. It's not like Megan Fox running in a tight shirt going like this with the explosions behind her and all of this shit and yelling in slow. None of that. It's good slow motion. Feels and just makes it all look cooler, really. And especially with the great effects, all of those things looks cool, and also gets rid of that horrible fucking ugly red with the end battle that the theatrical cut had. Just looks so much better. Looks like just infinitely times better. And the effects, everything like that, so good. Obviously, like I said, nitpicky, there's a shot here where the green screen's more noticeable, and there's the whole nightmare scene at the end where the green screen is most noticeable for a couple shots. Mostly I think it's good, but there's a couple shots where it looks a bit green screen. But I'm not going to criticise that, because they did that like in Zack Snyder's garden or something like that. So, and again, like Warner Brothers didn't want them to do it. So he did that. And also I love the nightmare scene. I won't talk about that now. That's an amazing scene. Anyway, so that whole scene, all the whole effects, are all amazing. I mean, like I said, you can nitpick little things, but considering how much this film is, if you were to say to me how much a percentage of the effects in this film isn't amazing, it would be like 0 point something of a percent. So I'm not going to complain about that. The effects, for the most part, are brilliant in this film. And when you compare it to the theatrical cut, you're like, how the fuck did they choose this version over that? Just on that alone. Like, what the hell? It's just terrible. The effects in the other version are terrible, especially compared to the effects in this film. So, effects, action, amazing. Like, the action scene in the middle in the Strikers Island, and the big final confrontation, the history battle scene, which had a young Darkseid known as Euxis opposed to Steppenwolf, the Wonder Woman versus terrorists, every action scene that is in this film is better than them. The counterpart to the theatrical cut, or if it wasn't in it, it was just cool anyway. and it's also better than anything that was in the theatrical cut, which wasn't in that. And the only thing I can think of in that case is the Batman rooftop scene with the burglar, which is just shit in its own right. This version, all the action in this looks fantastic, and I mean fantastic. Well done, Zack, on that aspect. You made an epic looking masterpiece. The soundtrack, obviously by Junkie XL, is amazing. Like, wow, it's one of my favourite soundtracks of all time. Junkie XL did amazing with this. It's epic, it's grand, it's dramatic, it's thrilling, it's huge, it's everything. It's a great soundtrack. I know some people didn't like the Wonder Woman, like, warrior chant thing, but if it was, and because basically, like, without spoiling too much, every time she does something cool, there's a dramatic piece of music that's played when she does it. But if she didn't do it, it would have been, if they didn't use that, it would have been the same, like, Wonder Woman, like, guitar thing from BVS and Wonder Woman. But I love that theme, but still. The soundtrack in this film is, again, leagues ahead of the soundtrack in the theatrical cut. It makes the theatrical cut soundtrack look... No comparison. I mean, that soundtrack sounded like dramatic score number 3 on a free editing software anyway. But, yeah, the soundtrack in this film, wow, is amazing. I mean, the DC films have the best soundtrack. You like Dark Knight Trilogy, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and then this, as well as Wonder Woman. Yeah, they're the coolest soundtracks. So, overall soundtrack in this film is amazing. I've got a few favourite songs, which I won't say, because, you know, I don't want to talk about them here, but also its use of actual songs as well is also really good. So, you know, like pre-existing songs or actual singing words, so they're good. Yeah, the soundtrack for this film is amazing, and it's really ironic considering Danny Elfman was really arrogant about the soundtrack in Justice League and acted really cocky. I'll make a video on that actually, because he had some really interesting opinions on superhero themes, which, for somebody who's made some of the most iconic superhero themes ever made, was a really weird opinion. Because he basically, but yeah, his views on superhero soundtracks were pretty weird, and considering he's a really good composer, the Justice League soundtrack was fucking terrible. Whereas the soundtrack in this film, the one but he's much better. His version's much better. His version's so cool because I'm the best composer ever. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know what the fans want. That's really embarrassing because this version's infinitely times better. So there you go. Soundtrack of this film amazing. Characters amazing. Effects amazing. Also, this backstory, the character arcs, the explanation, the pacing, everything in this film's much better. This film feels shorter than the theatrical cut because the pacing is better. It feels more earned. It feels more natural. It feels just a lot more like comprehensive. It feels more planned. It feels more thought out. The story feels, like I said, well paced. Everything about this film is amazing in that sense. The storytelling here is great. The backstory's great. The explanation's great. The pacing great. The motivation's great. The character development is great. The development of like the items and the things they need to do on the law and all of that is great. The mother boxes are much better, much more explained, and actually feel like a threat in this version. Reasoning to why they're only a problem now is also great. Everything about this film is great. I'm trying to wrap it up a bit because I know the video is almost an hour. So, yeah, basically every single thing about this film is amazing. Especially like the backstory, the development and the pacing as well. It does not feel like a 4-hour long film. It feels like probably a 3-hour long film, but a good 3-hour long film. Not a slow 3-hour film. Like a perfect 3-hour long film, if that makes sense. In fact, this film could have been longer. I'm not saying it needed to be longer because it didn't need to be longer, but it could have been longer and it would have still felt good. This film could have gotten to like 6 hours before it started to feel like, alright, you're dragging a bit. This film for me doesn't drag. Everything in this film feels needed. And that's the thing, I know there's things you could cut out, but I can't look at anything and think you should cut that out. Does that make sense? There's nothing in this film I would cut out, If I was left this film, I was like, yeah, should we leave it as it is? I would say, yeah. I love it. Everything in it feels like it should be in it. There isn't a single scene, a single line, a single moment, a single shot, a single anything which feels like it shouldn't be in the film. This film works brilliantly and is probably the best paced, one of the best paced films I've ever seen. And for a 4-hour-long film, that is a huge achievement. And like I said, the 4-hour runtime earlier wasn't a negative. It was just that it's like it just makes it more difficult to watch it due to timing issues. Other than that, though, 4-hour-long runtime, brilliant. I love it. Perfect, great, huge long masterpiece, and I could watch it like twice in a day. I love it. I have watched it twice. I watched it twice the first day it came out. I watched it when it came, as soon as it came out, and then I watched it that night with Zack Snyder on a watch party, which I'm so glad I actually stayed awake for, because he actually answered a couple of my questions, which was really cool. Thank you, Zack. If you're most definitely not watching this, but in the, like, whatever nano level of chance that you're watching this, thank you. But yeah, this film, brilliant, paced, brilliant, looks brilliant. The colour as well, the colour grading, much better. Doesn't look really overly bright and look like everything's like someone went to the iPad and turned photo editor and like just turned all the brightness and all the colour up to as far as it could go, because that's how you make films look brighter. Is literally just make them look so bright you can't even fucking look at them, which is a good thing because nobody wants to look at the theatrical cut of Justice League, especially now. But this film, yes, this film so good. Every actors are great. Music, everything, just brilliant. I would say like just a couple things, not spoilery. So the nightmare scene, amazing. Okay, so I'm going to say a couple of spoiler things. So if you want to skip over here, just go timestamp. Like when Superman fully comes back to life, and you got the vision of him coming back to like what the consequences of that could be. Wow. The Cyborg's dad's death, even though that was in the trailer. Wow, that still makes me tear up. That's amazing. The scene with Flash and his dad, amazing. When Cyborg gives the money to the woman who's losing a house, amazing. Just everything about this film is amazing. I could just think of all the little details and all the little things in a 4-hour-long film, so I could think of 1,000 things. Wow, all amazing. But that Batman and Joker scene, probably my new favourite scene between Batman and the Joker. It's up there with like the interrogation scene in The Dark Knight. It is amazing. Also, Jared Leto's a great joke here, and him taunting Batman over the death of Robin is like, and everything he says, and just their overall interaction, brilliant, perfect, fabulous. And also the like the dark side scenes as well, cool. And just the ending shot is just amazing. Like the big, when they're all standing together, that's so epic. The whole film is just epic. Okay, so I'm now going to wrap up the review because I'm talking ages. But basically, every single thing about this film is better than the theatrical cut. It shits all over the theatrical cut. The theatrical cut is like Batman and Robin level stupidity now. The characters are infinitely better, and the actors and actresses portray them all amazingly. The story and the lore and the backstory and the concept and the pacing of it all and the explanation and the motives and basically everything on paper is much better, especially when it regards to the villain's motives, why they're doing it, the mother boxes, all of that. Much better. Character arcs are better. Also, this film is more light-hearted and more funny than the previous two DCEU films, aside from a few standout things. And because of that, it's like, wow, what the fuck was Joss Whedon brought in for? Anybody who says he was brought in to make it funny and light-hearted, added in humour, he cut all the humour out and replaced it with the shittest jokes in the history of ever. So anybody who's saying that now is fucking lying. I mean, they were lying beforehand, but they're really fucking lying to the point of beyond comprehensible amount of stupidity. Why are you still saying it? He did not add anything. He cut things out, tried to make his own film, made his shit film, put Zack Snyder's name on it. That's what he did. That's all he did. Also then abused everybody on set because, you know, making a shit film and blaming a grieving parent for it and then lying about everything isn't enough. You got to add in sexism and racism. You can't stop there. So, yeah, basically the theatrical cut is shit now, forever and ever. Fuck you, theatrical cut, you piece of donkey fuck. And now this version is Zack Snyder's Justice League is the one true version of the film, and forever and ever will be, regardless of what Warner Brothers think or wants, like releasing that fucking 4K trailer of Justice League, which included footage that wasn't even in the film. What the fuck is wrong with you, you muppets? This film, amazing, love it, brilliant, funnier than the theatrical cut, better pace than the theatrical cut, better action than the theatrical cut, better character arcs than the theatrical cut. Everything feels more earned just than the theatrical cut. Everything, and it's just an amazing film. My favourite film of all time, best superhero film ever made. If you don't agree, your opinion, fair enough. You don't have to agree, but it's my opinion. I love this film, and restore the Snyderverse. Fuck it, make more. Fuck, why aren't you? You say you're doing the multiverse, so fucking do the multiverse. Make more of these films now. You absolute. I don't know. Just time. Why are you wasting everyone's time? Make more. Warner Brothers, why aren't you making more? We want more. Admit you were wrong. I mean, I know why you don't. It's because there's probably some people there who get fired over this. But, yeah, you're not doing very well now, are you? I mean, you just did the big merger, and hopefully that sorts a few problems out, and hopefully that gives us a much better chance of getting what we should have, because this is what we want. We don't want your Aquaman film and your fucking whatever else you're planning. I mean, Shazam, yeah, Black Adam, yeah, Batman is the thing I'm looking forward to most that you want to offer. The Flash could be cool, but if you're trying to undo everything by doing that, then fuck you. But, yeah, this is infinitely times better than what else you're offering. Offer more of this as well. You can do both. Do both. That's fine. Multiverse, great. But do more of this, because this is the best thing you have, and you're not doing it. This is literally the best thing you have. Do more. So yeah, Zack Snyder's Justice League, amazing. Film quality for me, 9.75 out of 10, and entertainment values 10 out of 10 and beyond. Go watch the film, get it on 4K, buy it on digital, boost the numbers, whatever it is, watch it, just watch it. It's an amazing film, and if you already watched it, watch it again. Come on, what are you doing? Nothing is more important than this. Watch it again, come on. That's a joke, obviously. Don't say I've got a daughter who, you know, I need to look after her. Don't do that. I was joking, calm down. But, yeah, this film is brilliant. Watch it, and watch it again. Restore the Snyderverse. And now, just before I end the video, I want to say what I was doing, because I could make a 10-hour long video talking about this film, and obviously nobody would want to watch that. So what I'm going to do instead is I am going to make a video called Zack Snyder's Justice League versus Justice League, and then I'm going to have a subject matter of that. So for example, Zack Snyder's Justice League Batman versus Justice League Batman, Zack Snyder's Justice League Steppenwolf versus Justice League Steppenwolf, and so on, to compare it to go into how they're different, why they're different, why the Zack Snyder's Justice League is infinitely times better than Justice League, because there's nothing in Justice League that's better than anything in this, and all the things. I'll be going in more detail with things, so I'll be like doing things on like the story as well, not just characters and the action, and the more stand-up details. So I'll be doing that as a series. They'll be random, and they might, the first video might come out 6 months before the last one, if not longer, I don't know. But I'll be doing them in between other reviews I do, because Army of the Dead comes out tomorrow. I wanted to do I Am Legend before and World War Z before that film came out, but that ain't going to happen. Sorry about that. I'm going to film my review for that after I've watched it. Maybe I'll watch it a couple of times before I do a review, whatever, I don't know. But I'll be watching that, and I'll be doing a review of that as well. And after that, I'll be doing reviews of other things. But yeah, I'll be doing that as a series, focusing on the various subject matters and going into detail, because then I can, you know, do 20 minutes on one subject and do it that way instead of making like one 10-hour long video. So that's what I'll be doing. Please, you know, if you want to watch those, feel free to watch that. That'd be great. Thank you for the support, and thank you for being patient with me throughout this whole thing. Sorry this video is not as in depth or talking about it as I want it to be, but I can see the length of how long the video is so far, and it's going to be really long, so I'll do the series as well. But this video is just to say, watch the Snyder Cut, it's amazing, and buy it and all of that. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Also, buy these as well from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Support the cause. So yeah, you know, thank you for watching. Restore the Snyderverse. Thank you, Zack, for making this film. I'm so glad you got to do it, and I'm so sorry about the way Warner Brothers have treated you and continue to treat you with like the whole Green Lantern thing and everything like that. You don't deserve it. You are a legend. Thank you to everybody who watched it. Thank you for everybody else who helped get this film released. Thank you for everybody who made it, and thank you just for all the goodwill, really. Yeah. So, yeah. Restore the Snyderverse. Watch this film, and apart from all of that as well, also just have a good day in general, or week, or whatever you're doing. If you're having a bad day or bad time, I hope it all gets better. So, again, last time I'll say it, sorry if I keep saying this, but watch the film. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.